Water 4, and we have a video for you this morning.
Before the sun rises, in a small village outside of Jinja, Uganda, a 7-year-old girl begins her walk.
3 miles in the dark, alone.
She's not going to school. She's not playing with friends. She's walking for water.
Through rough, dangerous terrain, she reaches a muddy watering hole, the only source her family has.
She fills a 5-gallon container, lifts its 40-pound weight, and turns around to walk home.
And tomorrow morning, she'll do it again, and the next day, and the day after that.
This is her story, but it doesn't have to be, because generosity changes lives, not just someone else's, but ours too.
Every year at the village, we give away 100% of our Easter offering. Not a portion, not what's left over, all of it.
And this year, we are partnering with Water 4 to bring clean, sustainable water to families who need it most. Right now, 142 families are waiting for something many of us take for granted, safe water in their homes.
That's not just a number. Every number has a name, a story, a future. Every $350 given is another family whose wait is over.
Every gift matters. Every dollar moves us closer.
Families are waiting. But what if today, because of this, their story changed?
A child goes to school instead of walking for water.
A parent no longer has to worry about their child walking alone for water.
A family drinks clean water for the first time.
Let's not leave a single family waiting. Let's be the real reason the wait is over.
Right now, you can change a family's story.
Give today. Every $350 given is another family whose wait is over.
Somebody could clap for that and it'd be okay. Yeah. Hey, good morning. My name's Travis. I'm one of the pastors here at the Village, and I'm so glad that you're here with us today. Just a couple things about Easter before I jump in for the morning. Number one, Allison mentioned this, but I just want to also encourage, if this is your church home, we're strongly encouraging people to come next Saturday at 6 p.m. to celebrate Easter, or Sunday morning at 8 a.m. I'm here to celebrate this morning the fact that the Fighting Illini made it to the Final Four. They punched their ticket. That's what I'm talking about. Do you know when they play in the Final Four? Saturday night. Do you know where I'll be? I will be right here celebrating Easter. So I expect to see you here as well. And I hope that at least one of you will have the game on and you can give me updates on the score, right? Second thing is, we're so excited about our Water 4 initiative. We set a goal at the beginning, and we said we want to be able to fund 142 families to have safe, clean water forever right outside their home. And so every bucket that you see, if you're new here, we're not sponsored by Lowe's. Every bucket that you see represents a family that we've already taken off of the waiting list. And so we said, let's eliminate 142 people from the waiting list, and as of this morning, not even through our Easter offering yet, just the pre-giving, so it doesn't even count yet, we've already taken off 78 families from the list. Amazing. Amazing. I can't wait to see. I think we're gonna take care of that list, and for Jinja, Uganda, and I think we're gonna start to chip away at some other communities as well. And it's so cool that we get to be part of that together. 2 weeks after Easter, we're hosting a Walk for Water 4. Matt Hangen, who's the CEO of Water 4, is going to be here with us on Sunday morning and Sunday night to share with us. And so super, super exciting stuff, and a great partnership that we have. So this morning we're wrapping up a series that we've been calling 40, and in this series we're just looking at the number 40 and its significance all throughout the Bible. It is a significant number all throughout the Bible. So in the book of Genesis, it says there was a flood and it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. In the book of Exodus, it says that Moses went up on a mountain for 40 days and he received the teaching from God that he brought down to the people that now makes up the first 5 books of the Bible. The Israelite people wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. Jesus spent 40 days fasting and praying, preparing for his ministry. Jesus then spent 40 days with the disciples after the resurrection before he was taken up into heaven. And so every season of 40 that you see in the Bible is significant because in every situation, 40 days, 40 years, God is about to do something significant. God's about to do something significant. So we've been in this season called Lent, L-E-N-T, that's the 40 days leading up to Easter. And we've just said, what if God wants to do something significant in your life, in my life, in our life together as a church? And so we've been trying to make preparations for that, studying through this. Today's story is an interesting one, and I'll talk about it more in just a minute and how the number 40 is associated with it. But today, in churches around the world, churches are celebrating what's called Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday is the beginning of a week called Holy Week. Holy Week is the week leading up to Easter, and it celebrates the last week of the life of Jesus. A lot of the Gospels, interestingly, like the Gospel of Mark, for instance, has 16 chapters. The first 10 chapters of Mark are about the first 3 years of the ministry of Jesus, and then Mark 11 through Mark 16 are about the last week of the life of Jesus. It's a really significant time that's changed everything for everybody. In Holy Week, in the stories of Holy Week, you see all the potential of humanity for good, and you see all the potential of humanity for evil. So we celebrate today, Palm Sunday, the day that Jesus rode into Jerusalem and large crowds gathered and they waved palm branches around and they shouted, "Hosanna, the King has come!" And they recognized Jesus as King and Jesus as Lord. And you see all the potential for good in humanity. But 5 days later, Jesus didn't do what the crowd wanted him to do. And he wasn't the kind of king that they wanted him to be. And he didn't do the tricks that they wanted him to do. And so from Palm Sunday, when they yelled, "Hosanna to the King," to Good Friday, we see the worst potential in humanity, where because Jesus wasn't the kind of king that they wanted, they all joined their voices together and shouted, "Crucify him." We see the depth of human brokenness and evil and what they were able to do to another human being. But then on Sunday, this is a little spoiler alert for next Sunday, there is nothing that can overcome the love of God. And on Easter Sunday, you see the love of God put on full display in the story of the resurrection of Jesus. It's an amazing story. At the 9 o'clock service, when I just said a little mention of Easter, somebody made some noise of joy. So on Easter, we'll celebrate that Jesus was raised from the dead. This is a participatory church, so it's okay for you to make some noise from time to time. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So today we look at the story of Palm Sunday when Jesus went from a place called the Mount of Olives into Jerusalem. And interestingly, if you go there even to this day, it's not explicitly mentioned in the text, but to walk from the Mount of Olives to the gate of Jerusalem is about a 40-minute walk. So this is another significant story that has to do with 40 in the Bible. It was a 40-minute walk for Jesus to walk from the Mount of Olives to Jerusalem. And as we say, it's called Palm Sunday. The reason it's called Palm Sunday is because the Gospels mention that people gathered around and they crowded the roads, and they waved palm branches around to celebrate the arrival of the king. Now, what's interesting about it is the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, only one of them mentions palm branches. It's the Gospel of John. John's the only one that says the crowd waved palm branches around. In the other Gospels, like Christian read from Matthew earlier, it says they laid some cloaks on the ground, or they cut branches and they put branches on the ground. So only one Gospel mentions Palm Sunday. We call it Palm Sunday, but I was reading through all the stories this week, and I found it fascinating that where one mentions the palms, there's something that all 4 of the Gospels mention in association with this story. Does anybody know what it is? Jesus, thank you. Good, yes. There is a donkey that is mentioned in all. In fact, the Gospels spend a lot of verses talking about a donkey and the procurement of a donkey. And so today, I would like to suggest that we rename this day Donkey Sunday. Thank you. Turn to your neighbor right now, please, and say, welcome to Donkey Sunday. And then if you want, you can say back to them, it's fitting that you're here today. If you want to say that. I mean, maybe you don't. Some of you are like, thank you for, I've been wanting to say that, and you gave me the opportunity. We're going to talk about Donkey Sunday. I want to read this story from Mark chapter 11. If you got a Bible, you can read along with me. Here's the story. It says, as they approached Jerusalem and came to Bethpage and Bethany at the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent two of his disciples, saying to them, go to the village. If you're here today, you have done what Jesus said to do. Congratulations. Yeah. Go to the village. Jesus said to do it. So welcome. Saying to them, go to the village ahead of you. And just as you enter it, you'll find a colt tied there, a donkey, which no one has ever ridden. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks you, why are you doing this? Say, the Lord needs it and will send it back here shortly. They went and found a colt outside in the street, tied at a doorway. And as they untied it, some people standing there asked, what are you doing, untying that colt? They answered as Jesus told them to, and the people let them go. When they brought the colt to Jesus and threw their cloaks over it, he sat on it. Many people spread their cloaks on the road, while others spread branches they had cut in the fields. Those who went ahead and those who followed shouted, Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our father David. Hosanna in the highest heaven. And Jesus entered Jerusalem, and he went into the temple courts, and he looked around at everything. But since it was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12. I want to share just three things about the donkey in this story. And I want to say, if it's true about the donkey, it might be true about us. Now listen, I'm not saying you're a donkey, okay? But I'm also not saying that you're not a donkey. So we're just going to see if there are some things that are true about the donkey that might be true about us. Number one, first thing that I notice in this story is that Jesus sees the donkey. It's really interesting to think about. Here's what happens. It says they approached Jerusalem and came to Bethpage and Bethany at the Mount of Olives. Jesus sent two of his disciples, saying to them, go to the village ahead of you, and just as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there, which no one has ever ridden. Untie it and bring it here. Imagine that you're the disciples in this story, and you're like, you want us to commit grand theft donkey? What is going on here, Jesus? But what's interesting, Jesus is in another village. He's in a different place, and he pulls the disciples together and he says, go into that other village, and there you're gonna find a donkey, and you're gonna find it tied up. No one's ever ridden it, and I want you to go and untie it and bring it to me. Jesus sees the donkey. Somehow he's able to see exactly where the donkey is. And I would say that same thing is true about us. Jesus sees you. Jesus is able to see where you are. Jesus is able to see who you are, right? This donkey, it wasn't a lost donkey. It was in a different village, but Jesus was able to see where it was. He knew where it was. He knew what condition it was in. He knew that no one had used it. Jesus has this way of seeing people. You read all through the Gospels, Jesus has a way of seeing people before he can physically see them, right? So in the Gospel of Matthew, it says that Jesus saw where Matthew was, sitting at the tax booth before he went to him and he said, follow me. In the Gospel of Luke, there's a story of Zacchaeus, and Zacchaeus was it doesn't actually say that in the story, but it's a great song. So in my imagination, he's a wee little man, right? But he climbed up in a tree. He's just trying to hide from Jesus. And before Jesus could even see him, he could see him. You know what I mean? And he called him down and he said, I want you to follow me. And it completely changed the life of Zacchaeus. Jesus was able to see the woman at the well. He was able to see things about her that were true about her life that she hadn't even told him yet. Jesus has this ability to see. And I just want you to know, maybe you need to hear this morning. Jesus can see you. You might feel alone. You might feel forgotten. You might feel completely unseen. You might feel uncared for. I just want you to know Jesus sees you. He sees you exactly where you are. And he doesn't just see you as you want to be seen. Right? He sees you as you really are. He doesn't see the polished version of you. He sees the real version of you. He doesn't see the churched up version of you. A lot of us are really good at putting on the churched up version of ourselves and coming into church and smiling and how are you doing? I'm good. Everything's good. I'm fine. Everything's fine, right? That's not the you that Jesus sees. Jesus sees the real you. He can see you. You're seen. You're known. You're loved. You're not invisible to Jesus. I just want you to hear that this morning. You're not invisible to Jesus. But not only does Jesus see the donkey and see the condition of the donkey, there's more to the story. Jesus sees the donkey, but then Jesus frees the donkey. Jesus frees the donkey. The story goes on. Then they went and they found a colt. They found it just as Jesus said. They found a colt, a donkey, outside in the street, and he was tied at a doorway. And as they untied it, some people standing there said, "What are you doing untying the colt?" They're like, the Lord said he needs it. Can you imagine? I bet they were like, there's no way this line is going to work. There's no way, but it did. They said what Jesus told them to say, and it worked. The people were like, okay, yeah, that totally makes sense. And they left with the donkey. Jesus frees the donkey. Before he ever sits on the donkey, he sets the donkey free, right? It's kind of amazing. And in so many ways, this donkey, I think, could be a picture of us. It could be a picture of our life, because a lot of us know what it's like to feel stuck. We know what it's like to feel tied up. We know what it's like to feel bound to something. We know what it's like to feel restricted. A lot of people feel tied up by anxiety. I always mention that one first because I feel tied up by anxiety often. And so if you feel tied up by anxiety, I just want you to know you're not alone in feeling tied up by anxiety. A lot of people feel tied up by shame. And shame is when you start to question like who you are because of what you've done. Shame is something you wear. You start to put it on, and it's like, well, I must be horrible because of what I've done. And a lot of people, we feel tied up like to an identity of shame. There are people who feel tied up to addiction. I've lost family members to addiction because it's a horrible disease, and people get tied up to it and chained up to it, and they can't break free from it. And there are some of us in here, and you feel tied up, you feel chained to addiction. There are some of us who feel tied to approval, like we're just constantly seeking approval. And we feel like our whole life is about trying to seek the approval of other people. There are some of us who we feel tied to our past mistakes, and we feel like that predicts our future. We all know what it's like to feel stuck, and we can relate. We can relate to this story. We're all tied to something, but it's interesting. Jesus says to the disciples, "Go untie it and bring it to me." Untie it and bring it to me, which in so many ways I think is a picture of the gospel. It's a picture of the good news of Jesus. And what's interesting here is that Jesus didn't start with performance. He started with freedom. Jesus wants to set you free. If there's something that's binding you, if there's something that's tying you up, if there's something that's making you feel stuck and it's keeping you from being all that you feel like you were created to be, Jesus has come to free you from that, and that's where it begins. The love of God frees us to be the people of God. Jesus doesn't start with what he expects from us. He starts with what he wants for us. So Jesus sees us, Jesus frees us. And then the third thing, I just really wanted this one to rhyme, and I struggled. It was so important for me to make it rhyme. And so I've thought through, different iterations of how I could say the third point. And then I got this, I'm just going to share with you. Somebody said to me recently, "I wish I could be inside your brain for a minute." And I was like, no, you don't. It's a very scary place to be, but I'm going to let you inside my brain for a minute. Is that okay? It's not really okay with this side of the room, so I'll talk over here. Is it okay? Yeah, here we go. You still didn't answer. Is it okay? Thank you. I'm going to do it anyway. So I had this picture of my grandma. My grandma was like one of the most influential people in my life. My grandma was so filled with like joy and exhilaration and fun and whimsy. And I've got this picture. All of the grandkids experienced this. And then we were so fortunate and blessed that even my kids got to experience this with my grandma. But I've got this picture in my head of my grandma, and she would put grandkids or great-grandkids on her knee. And then it was like ride the horsey was the game, right? And when she would do that, I can just see her kicking her head back, and she would make this noise with just like jubilant exhilaration. She would just go, whee! Right? Just try that with me. Would you do that? Just like kick your head back and go, whee! Try it. But like exuberant. Do it like exuberantly. Try it again. Whee! That's pretty good. So Jesus sees the donkey. Jesus frees the donkey. Jesus whees the donkey. Just go with me. Just go with me on it. What happens is that Jesus turns the mundane path that the donkey might walk on into a parade. And the donkey gets the ride of his life when he carries Jesus from the Mount of Olives into Jerusalem. Normally for this donkey, this is just a normal, dusty, boring pathway down into a valley and up a hill on the other side. But on this day, there are people gathered around and they are shouting and there's exhilaration and there's jubilance. And the donkey never had another ride like this in his life, like the day that he got to carry Jesus on his back through the valley. And it was just filled with joy and exhilaration. It reminds me of in 2020. Anybody remember 2020? So Palm Sunday 2020, we were all stuck at home. Everybody's stuck at home. It's usually like this day filled with exhilaration. And so my family decided, let's make this a fun day, Palm Sunday 2020. Some of you have seen this video, but some of you haven't. So I want to show this to you for the people who haven't seen this. This is just joy and exhilaration, Palm Sunday 2020. Check it out. It's good to be alive right about now. That's what the song's saying. And even in 2020, when we're locked at home, not sure about what's happening, we were able to play that song and really feel it. Because of Jesus, it's good to be alive right about now. Jesus takes mundane things and turns them into joy. And Jesus has the ability and the power to do that in your life as well. This happens in three movements for the donkey. The first thing is that the first place we see this happening, this mundane turning into joy, is that the donkey was simply available to Jesus. The donkey was available. Notice it says this was an unused donkey, right? It had never been used, it had never been ridden on, it hadn't been trained, it had no expertise. It was an unused donkey that was simply available to what God wanted to do in its life. Jesus isn't looking for impressive. Jesus isn't looking for some impressive training that you've got or some kind of knowledge. All Jesus is asking is for you to be available. Are you available? Jesus used an unused donkey who became available. You might feel like an unused donkey, or you might feel like a tired donkey. I don't know. But the question is, are you available? Would you simply make yourself available for God? Because that can start to turn the mundane into a party. The second thing about the donkey is that the donkey is obedient. Imagine this, the donkey's carrying Jesus on its back, and it can probably feel Jesus. And if Jesus leaned his weight to the left, what'd the donkey do? It went to the left. If Jesus leaned his weight to the right, it went to the right. If Jesus said go left, it went left. If Jesus said go right, it went right. If Jesus said go straight, it went straight. It was just simply obedient. It didn't know all the steps. That donkey didn't know exactly where it was going, but it was simply obedient in the moment to whatever the step was that Jesus asked it to take. And that began to turn the mundane into the joyous. It's crazy how our obedience to God, just doing what God asks us to do, leads to joy. It leads to joy. And then the third thing, and I think this is really significant, it's not even about who the donkey was or what the donkey did. It's about who the donkey was carrying that made the whole experience joyful. The donkey carried the king. He carried the king into the city for his coronation. The donkey carried Jesus. And you and I are asked to do the same thing. And when we do, it turns the mundane into the joyful. We're asked to carry Jesus into our office. You're asked to carry Jesus into your classroom. You're asked to carry Jesus into your friendships. You're asked to carry Jesus into your family. And when you do, you find that what's mundane and what's boring, it turns into a party. It turns into a parade because we have Jesus with us, and Jesus is the source of life, and Jesus is the source of joy. And when you carry Jesus, even the mundane can become miraculous. Your path can become a parade. Whatever your path is, it can become a parade when Jesus is part of your life. Jesus sees you. Jesus frees you. Jesus whees you. You won't forget it, right? It's all goof, but you won't forget it. You won't forget it. And so this morning, what are you tied to? Where are you feeling tied up? Where are you feeling bound? Where are you feeling stuck? Where are you feeling like your life is mundane? Where do you need to experience freedom? Where do you need to experience another chance at life? Right? Jesus offers that to a donkey, and if Jesus offers that to a donkey, certainly he offers that to us, right? You don't have to be anything more than a donkey to experience Jesus. It's good news. That's good news for us this morning. Where are you tied up? What's holding you back? What if today is the day that you let Jesus free you? That you make yourself available to who he is? That you take a step in obedience to what he's asked you to do? And that you take on the responsibility to carry him wherever you go. And you might start to find some life that you didn't know was out there for you. So I want to pray for us this morning. Would you join me in prayer? God, thank you for who you are. I thank you that if it's true about a donkey, it can be true about me. For each and every one of us, God, I thank you that you see us. You see us where we are. You see us in our struggles. You see us in our challenges, but you don't leave us there. You free us. You release us. You break the bonds. You break the chains that are holding us back. I pray that you do that today. And God, I thank you for the joy that's possible that you want for us, the life that you want for us, the freedom that you want for us, and how it can turn the mundane into a party. I just pray that we'd experience that today. So God, we love you. We thank you for Jesus. We pray all these things in his name. And everybody said, amen. Hey, let's stand together and sing one more song.